Oh, this is a double barrel question. I'll ask two at once. And how many of the people that you do serve do you see or do you begin to hear about that earlier trauma? Like, in other words, for people who are so devastated today, is it more likely that there were these earlier misconceptions and traumas, earlier in life, or not necessarily?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Yeah. Sometimes it's just a lacking. They don't have the tools, the resources. I found that when it comes to really moving through the stages, because people say, how long does it take? It's more a question of willingness than time. Because that person who is unwilling to let go of the story and all it gives, they're not healing. Actually, there were 3 groups in the study who did not heal. The first was the group where they had their story, they were sticking with it. That was it. They didn't want to risk letting go of that story. It gave them too much. The second was the group that was numbing, avoiding, distracting. They numbed in some way. Maybe they went on a mood stabilizer, anti-anxiety medication, emotionally eating, whatever. They didn't. The third group, this was the group where the betrayer had very little consequences. So whether it was out of financial fear, religious reasons, not wanting to break up a family, whatever, they just did all they could just to sort of put it behind them, turn the other cheek. I saw 2 things with this group. Number 1, a further deterioration of the relationship. This group by far was the most physically sick.
Wait, describe that again. So this third group, what was it? They turned away from the betrayal, or what happened there?
There really weren't major consequences after the
like they didn't lose. You mean there wasn't as much? They didn't lose as much after the betrayal. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Like, for example, with mine, first my betrayals. First it was my family, right? Then it was my husband. That was it. That was the deal breaker. So that crash and burn, I wasn't picturing doing this on my own, raising all these kids, all these animals, doing this.
Yes.
We sort of signed up to do this together.
Yes.
But it was in that shock of losing everything.
Yeah.
And I think, just to close the loop on my story, rebuilding is always a choice. Whether you rebuild yourself and move along, that's what I did with my family. There was no change, so there was really nothing to work with. And with my husband is to transform people. Not long ago, we married each other again. New rings, new vows, new dress, and our 4 kids' bridal party. Because he lost everything, I lost everything, right? So now it's like, okay, my only intention was I'm going to heal for my kids, for my clients, whatever. And then on his own, he did that work, right? So we met up again as 2 very different people.
Yes.
So many people are so afraid of the death and destruction of the old. That's the only way you birth the new.
Oh, that's beautiful. And I'll tell you, I work with a lot of couples as well. And sometimes when they come in, they are fighting so intensely, we cannot get productive work done. Yeah. So I have to split them up. Right? And sometimes meet with them individually, or just tell them, you can't talk to one another. You have to talk through me. And sometimes it's so severe that one of them leaves, and they'll separate. But oftentimes, if they continue the work, and that's the critical piece, like you said, with you and your husband, you both continue the work. It's not so uncommon that they get back together. And they get back together, not in the old way. Like, this is new. This is a new relationship now because they've both done the work independently. Yeah, that's so interesting.
New house. That's what I'm trying to explain. It's not patching up the old house.
Exactly.
That's what people do, and it doesn't work. When the old house crashes and burns, and then you collectively decide, okay, I'm gonna just heal. I have no idea what's going to look like. That other person, you can build an entirely new house. Yeah, and it's beautiful. We're having more fun now than ever.
Yeah, of course.